Hello everyone, Clyde the Dad Bod Hot Rod here, and lately I've been getting some interest on this hoist and lift system that I built to take the top off my Jeep Gladiator. Now the top for the Jeep Gladiator without the freedom panels only weighs about 60 pounds, so I knew it didn't have to be super strong, and I wanted to build it cheap, I wanted to build it fast, I want to be able to take it off by myself. So we're going to talk about the build for a second, and then we're going to move into the operation to show you guys how this thing works. So I built this out of 1.5 inch PVC pipe. So I used 12 foot of PVC pipe and had a little left over. You're going to need 4 caps, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to need 2 T's, 1, 2. You're going to need 3 elbows, 1, 2, 3. All right. This piece here was about 23.5 inches. This piece here was about 44.5 inches. This piece here is about 1 foot. This piece here is about 3¼ inches, and this piece here is about 8¼ inches. I also used, at all the joints except for these 2 here, I used stainless steel round head screws with nylon inserts. Now you could try to use lock washers, but I was afraid that if I applied enough pressure to close that lock washer up, it might break the plastic, so I didn't do that. This is just a tie wire I got from Lowe's to add structural integrity to it. These are 2 pieces of tactical 550 cord. This measurement here is about 10 inches long. And you can see what I did was I drilled a hole all the way through from the top to the bottom. I put an overhand stopper knot with a washer here to hold that weight. This piece here is a spring-loaded roll pin. And what we did with this roll pin here was we put it in a vise and drilled a hole all the way through it. We worked the 550 cord through it and tied an overhead stopper knot like that. All right. So the way this is going to work is you're going to put this through the bolt holes at the very front, and it's going to be like a spare tire hoist. You stick it through there like that, and then it opens up and picks up from there. All right, you can see that I have, I bought about 12 foot of pipe insulation. I put zip ties on it. For the rope, I drilled a hole. I got about 10 foot of rope, but you won't use all of it. I drilled a hole all the way through it and tied an overhead stopper knot. I made sure to tie a lifting eye in it, because if you don't, all the weight is on the back of the top, and it'll slide out and slide all the way to the bottom, and it'll bust your top up. It'll stress the joints on the lift, and pretty much just put you in a bad mood. All right, so when I put this thing in there, I always use these straps on the sides, and they'll go right in the channel there. I'll show you that in a few minutes. And I hook those both back into the eye lift before I pick up on it. So this is your parts list here, if you want to focus in on that for a second. So I got these safety straps from Lowe's. They're called Smart Straps. You'll see how I use those in just a minute. And also got this Wild Game lifting system here from Harbor Freight for $15. So it would probably go a little bit easier if you had a better one of those. But like I said, I wanted to build it cheap, so I got the one from Harbor Freight. So also, this front piece here has a piece of 3/8 ball thread running all the way through it. It starts here, goes to the other side, and I tightened that up as much as I could. I used nylon inserted nuts on that too, so I wouldn't have to use lock washers and try to bust it up whenever I got it as tight as I could. So that's just going to give it extra strength. And of course, you can see I can use a handful of zip ties along here to make sure that the pipe insulation stays in place. Now, if you have a Jeep with a glossy finished top on the top, you may want to wrap a towel or something around it to keep from scratching that up. But I've got the matte finish, and I don't feel like the zip ties are going to hurt anything. So that's pretty much the build. Like I said, drilled holes all the way through. For the rope, put overhand stopper knots on the bottom, and it picks it. Right now it's out of balance, but whenever you pick up the top, most of the weight's going to be in the back, so it's going to balance out better than that. So if there aren't any questions about that, I guess we'll move forward and started with this. Alright, so you're going to start by setting it on top. Make sure your excess rope is out of the way. And putting this piece through the sliding back glass. Make sure that you have all your pipe insulation where it's supposed to be to protect your finishes. So I had this piece cut at about 44.5 inches. You may want to make that a little bit shorter yourself. And when you're putting this thing together, you want to mock it all up before you glue it and make sure that all the pressure points are hitting where you want them to hit. And I'll walk around and I'll show you the inside here. While that piece may need to be a little bit short. Now I meant for this piece to fall where this ribbed structure support goes, but instead it falls right in here. So I'm going to wind up cutting that top piece down a little bit to try to make it, and you'll see whenever I pick up on it that the whole thing pushes back that way a little bit, and that's why I'm going to have to cut that piece and make it a little bit shorter. But make sure that before you glue all this and put your screws in your joints and everything, that you mock it up, put it up under there, and make sure that it hits where you want it to hit for the pressure points. All right, so if you point up at the hoist right here, if you're doing this in a carport or a garage, you just want to make sure that you hit a rafter or a ceiling joist that you feel confident will hold the 60 pounds of the top. And you can put it up there with a wooden eye bolt or a wooden hook. You see that I already got a cleat tied here, so, and you'll see that I have an eye loop in that rope there. When I get it to the correct height that I want it to be, I'll just hook that eye knot on this cleat here, and it should be ready. All right, so you'll see with the roll pin here, it's got to go through this hole here, all right? And I'm just going to put it through like that and pull it through, pick it up a little bit more, pull it through, and then it's going to just come up just like that right there. And you'll see it makes a T right there, and it'll hold plenty of support. The 550 cord, it's rated at supposed to be 550 pounds, and these are only holding about 15 pounds a piece, so they should do just fine. Now, whenever you're going to, I've already taken all the bolts out of the top, but make sure that whenever you're going to do this part of it, that you have all the bolts out of the top, because if you try to lift up on this and you don't, you could wind up damaging this ear here, and that'll also put you in a bad mood. All right, so the next step is to hook the top up. Hook the lifting apparatus up to the hoist. And like I said, this is just a block and tackle $15 product that I got from Harbor Freight to lift game up. Hang on just a second. There we go. Get it hooked up there. All right. And so at this point, you're going to want to pick up on it. And I forgot to hook up my safety straps. You want to do that too. All right, so you can just pick up on the top. You just pick up on the top and run the safety strap in that little channel right there and hook it into the eye. Make sure you get something, if you don't use these particular ones, it's plastic coated so you don't scratch your surface. little bit of stretch, but it's not too bad. Looks like I'm hung up on the front a little bit. That's all about. There we go. Want to make sure this falls out in the middle, right where you want it. You should be able to come on up with it. Alright, so we've got it up about to where we want it. Make sure you keep positive control with it as you're getting out of the Jeep. Just come right on up with it. Like I said before, I already tied this eye off where I want it to go. That way now I can just pull out from under it. I set it on my rolling table, roll it out of the way, and I'm good to go. And to put it back on, you just reverse the process. It's just that easy. I've got probably the pipe and 3 of the elbows was donated to me, so I've probably got right at 50 bucks in it. So even if you had to spend 70 bucks on it, it's still better than the $300 plus ones that you're finding online. And that's all we got for you today.